All right, guys, so if you think that you heel strike, or if you know you heel strike, and you read the blog that we put out about heel striking, and you kind of think you want to make a change, but you're not really sure how, I'm going to go over a couple different ways that you can begin to change that. A couple of things that I tell my clients whenever we do a medical running analysis, where we look at your run and see what's going on. I use a couple of these cues to help them get from a heel striker to a more midfoot strike, or to decrease their stride length, which also can help with heel striking. Okay, so again, heel striking is not the worst thing in the world, right? But if you heel strike and you also have like less than 20 degrees of knee flexion, which means this is flexion. So if you're landing on a straight knee like so and not landing here, then that's a big risk, or increases your risk for injury. Okay, so a lot of times this accompanies an overstride. This can accompany, or this can have with it some valgus movement of the knee here. So it's not that good, because we want to be able to have a solid, stable running form that is efficient, but then also helps us to stay pain-free, right? We don't want to be injured and have to miss out on races or runs, or running with our friends, right? So let's go over a couple different ways that I like to get my clients to kind of begin to change this, okay? And let me first say too that just trying, most people, the overwhelmingly majority of people are going to have a hard time doing this immediately, right? It's going to take us some time and some practice to do this. So a lot of times you'll see people who are like big overstriders, right? And we want to get them shorter in their strides. So a simple tool that I like to use is a metronome. So oftentimes too, whenever someone overstrides, right, they maybe have that heel strike, they are typically have a slower cadence. So meaning the amount of times you hit the ground with your feet, right? So we want to use a metronome to help decrease that, increase that cadence, which is going to really kind of bring their feet together, right? So having a metronome, setting it, probably about 10 or so beats per minute faster than what you typically run, is going to help to bring you in, okay? So secondly, I like to kind of give them a cue of like stamping the ground with your feet, right? Because a heel strike is mostly like, your toes are up towards your nose, you're pointing upwards in the air, and you're hitting the ground like this. So one thing I like to use is, hey, think about, instead of just like reaching out with your heel, to kind of think about hitting the ground and grabbing it and pulling it forward. But in order to do that, you have to think of your foot like a stamp, right? So you're going to be stamping the ground like so, and not like this, but like this, right? So if I'm gonna run, and I'm not a heel striker, I'm like more of like a midfoot strike. But if I'm gonna go heel striking, now I want to think about just trying to grab the ground. So I'm going to try to think about landing underneath me as I do that, and then putting my foot down as I go out. As I try to stride out, I'm going to put my foot down like underneath me, grab, and then push back, okay? So that's one cue that I like to use for people, is just for stamping the ground with your foot, okay? That takes some time to get there. The third thing I'm going to give you is a little bit, it sounds super simple and it's often hard to do, which takes time to do it. But one thing I like to kind of think about is, typically people will have they will kind of like lean upwards, or kind of like a really upright posture with their run and with their heel strike. So I have to kind of get them to like really lean forward in their run as they do this. So instead of like coming back here, right, and you're kind of like walking and kind of reaching out with your heel, I have to get them to kind of like lean forward a little bit into their run, right? And that kind of places them in a better position to get that foot underneath you and not have the feeling that you have to reach out in front of you, okay? So that's really 3 good ways that get people from running on their heels to more of a midfoot strike, and even decreasing their stride length, okay? So it's all about becoming more efficient and decreasing your injury risk. So I understand that these might be like kind of like, whew, how do I do this? It might be kind of confusing. How do I work this into my training? Well, That's what we do really well. That's one of the things we help our clients with. So if you are dealing with some injury, or if you're dealing with like maybe you're not running right now because of pain, or you want to look at your run, see, okay, is there anything I'm doing right now that may put me at increased risk of injury? And then if you want to kind of know, hey, what do I need to do, or what can we do to really work on that so I don't get injured once the races start to pop up again, right? Right now, and at this time in the recording, hey, it's during COVID, it's in October, but pretty soon races are going to begin to open up, and we want to be able to get out there and have confidence in our body, confidence in our running form, to stay healthy and to make it a good running season whenever it opens back up. So give us a call, shoot us an email, let's set something up if you need our help, and we can't wait to see you.